Welcome to Reckless Paradise, everyone. I am your host, Marissa, and welcome to the final episode for September 2023. I hope everybody has had a very good month. My month has been a little stressful because, of course, I am moving. I'm still in the process of moving. So we have been trying to pre-record episodes for you guys for the purpose of that. And I think that part has went really well, recording. We haven't had any issues, so thank the cell tower gods for that, I suppose. Just a fair warning, this episode may be a little bit shorter than usual. I am a little bit under the weather. I think I'm coming down with a cold. I have been sick for like the last couple days. I also have a swollen lymph node behind my left ear. So it's kind of hard to wear headphones right now. It kind of hurts. But we'll get through it. Thank you guys for joining the episode, and I hope you enjoy. Of course, Dice Show has the night off because this is a solo episode. So this is Music Madness episode 4. I can't believe I've already done 4 episodes of this. There will not be a Music Madness episode scheduled for October because of spoopy season. We already have the whole month mapped out on what we want to do for each episode. So I think you'll see our next Music Madness episode in November. So stay tuned for that. Man, what have I been up to this month, music-wise? Well, let's start with this. Blink-182. Oh my goodness, they are just amazing. So I'm currently recording this on May 18th. Now, on the 21st, they will have already dropped. I'm thinking it's a single. I'm thinking it's another song. Watch me be wrong, but I'm hoping it's just a song because I'm nowhere near ready for the album because I have so much going on. We have been getting teased all month long about Blink's new stuff coming up. You gotta remember, we haven't seen a new single from Blink since last October with Edging. And it's crazy how we had to wait this long for another new release from them, I guess you can say. So at this time of me recording this, I haven't listened to it yet. But that means I will be able to give you guys an update in October on like the start of one of our episodes. I'll let you guys know what I think of it, and I'm sure Daisha will too because we're both Blink fans. So that's coming up. Lately, me and Daisha have been doing our Van Halen pilgrimage. We're actually halfway done. We're at the halfway mark at the time of recording this. So that means I believe we only have 6 albums left to go, if I'm correct. That's It won't take too long. It definitely didn't take long to get to this point where we are now, considering we've been doing this pilgrimage since like the second week of August. So at this point in time, I already have a clear-cut favorite album, but again, we still have 6 left to go, so that could change from now to then. We've mainly done most of David Lee Roth stuff. We haven't done a lot of Sammy Hagar related stuff. We've only done 2 albums of the Sammy era. One was okay, and the other one was pretty bad. But I'm not going to give away any spoilers because I would prefer to wait until we do our album ranking and top 10 songs for Van Halen. We actually will be redoing the top 10 songs because I believe we did like a top 10 or top 5 Van Halen songs episode last summer when I covered the Van Halen information for you guys. So we will be comparing and contrasting last year's picks to this year's picks. So that's going to be kind of cool. We haven't done that in a little while because the last group we did, I don't even remember if we had like a Foo Fighters top 10 video before doing the pilgrimage. So we never did one. So that's going to be very interesting. So I can't wait to do that. I think that'll be in November though because we already have October all planned out. So that's going to be interesting. But like I said, a lot of the David Lee Roth stuff is actually pretty good. I feel like I kind of slept on that kind of material when we did the debate hour last year between Sammy and David. I kind of don't know. Maybe I should change my mind on that. But then again, I haven't listened to enough of the Sammy stuff yet, so we'll just have to wait and see. But for the most part, a lot of the David Lee Roth stuff was great. It's kind of consistent, to be honest. Like, we did, let's see, so we've done Women, Children First. We did that, and we did Fair Warning, and we did Diver Down. Those 3 albums in a row. I think they all came out back to back, like 1980, 1981, and 1982, respectively. All 3 of those albums are consistent, and to be honest, it's kind of hard to tell which song is from which album. Like, if you were to go in blind, it's kind of hard to tell. But, I could definitely say out of those three, I do have a favorite. But we've also listened to 1984, and that album was also amazing. That was the second one we did in the whole pilgrimage. So, the last one we just did was For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, which was a 1991 album during the Sammy Hagar era. It was okay. Not my favorite, of course, but it was okay. It had some good tracks on it. A little long, 51 minutes. I noticed that the Sammy Hagar stuff is actually a little bit longer than the David Lee Roth stuff. David Lee Roth's albums are like pretty short, between 30 and 40 minutes at least. Then you get to the Sammy Hagar stuff, it's like over 50 minutes. It's like, ooh, okay. But once again, we're halfway through. I cannot wait to share with you guys. Actually, we cannot wait to share with you guys what we thought of this pilgrimage. To be honest, I'm actually having a hard time focusing on this pilgrimage a little bit. Like, I'm not diving deep into the band like I usually would do with like Foo Fighters or Blink, because I have been so busy. I have been moving and I haven't had time to really dive in and do some research, even though I know quite a bit about Van Halen as it is. Same thing with AC/DC. Like when we did the AC/DC pilgrimage, I had already know a lot of stuff beforehand, so I could kind of pass that on to Dystro, and he did the same with me in terms of like Blink and Foo Fighters. But at the same time, we also dove deep into the bands, because it's always good to learn something new every day. So, another thing I have been doing on my own time is getting into the Slipknot stuff. Now, I don't remember if I mentioned this on episode 3 of Music Madness last month, but lately I have been on a huge Slipknot kick. I actually just recently listened to their debut album from like 1999. Very, very solid album from top to bottom. It's a little long. I mean, Slipknot albums are pretty long. Let's just say that. They're at least between 55 minutes to an hour, and I know that the Grey Chapter album, which came out in 2014, that album is super long. It's like the length of a Pink Floyd album. Let's just say that. So you really have to be focused when you go into a Slipknot album. Kind of like Pink Floyd, same thing. You have to be really focused. Like, if you start the album, you need to be dedicated to listen to it the whole way through in one sitting. Now, I've tried to listen to it in 2 sittings. It just doesn't work. It doesn't feel right. Like, it doesn't feel connected. I guess that's the way to put it in short terms. When you listen to an album, it's kind of like reading a book. Like, it's hard to put it down. Like, once you put it down, it's like, oh, shoot, I already forgot what happened in the first half. So it's very important when you do a Slipknot album that you listen to it from start to finish in one sitting. Don't try not to take a break. Try not to. I know it's hard. Try not to split it into 2 or 3 listenings. But that's why I have been kind of slow at the Slipknot pilgrimage, because I have just had no time to really sit down and listen to any albums lately. Except for last weekend, I had a little bit of time on my hands on a Sunday, so I was like, why not? Let's go listen to the debut album of Slipknot. So I did that, and I really, really enjoyed it. There's maybe only 2 songs that I wasn't crazy about, which is pretty good considering how long this album is. So have at it. If you guys need an album to listen to right now, go listen to that album. It is absolutely mind-blowing how good it is. You could definitely tell it's like old school Slipknot. You could definitely tell. I can give you that. So all I have left to do for this pilgrimage I'm doing on the side is Iowa and then Volume 3, and I also have to do the Grey Chapter. I'm kind of doing this out of order, which is not a good idea. According to some people, it's not a good idea, but that's how I've always done it. I like to shake things up a little bit. You just never know what you're going to get. I think my first album I did was All Hope Is Gone, because I got that, I think I got that for an album exchange not too long ago, like back in the spring. I got that, and then I ended up doing the end. Well, actually, no, correction. My first album was The End So Far, because it came out last year, and I was really curious to see how it sounded. Because last year I was still a relatively new Slipknot fan. My friend was trying to get me into them. Shout out to Ken's, by the way, who's been on the show a long time ago. He was trying to get me into them. So I took a listen to the new album. Absolutely hated it the first time around. I've listened to this album twice. And then this year I had All Hope Is Gone in the spring. That album was really good. And then, unfortunately, I had to go back and listen to The End So Far again, because I got it in another album exchange on Discord. I was like, oh, come on. I just freaking did that album. So I went back and listened to it, hoping my opinions would change, but unfortunately it was one of those situations where my opinion for this album did not change. Now, I say that, the reason why I say this is because in the past, me and Daisho have had albums during pilgrimages where we did not like them on the first playthrough. But since then, I've went back and given some of these albums a second chance at redemption. And a good example of that is basically the two Def Leppard albums that made our bottom two, which were Slang and X. I went back and listened to those on my own time, I think maybe 2 times more, and they were pretty good. I actually really enjoyed them the second and third time around. I think it was X I listened to more than twice. I think it was X I did a couple times more. And I really, really enjoyed them. And I was like, Distro, you gotta give these albums another chance. Like, we gotta try this. He's like, okay. So he gave Slang another chance, and it seems like he liked it. He actually liked it the second time where I'm like, okay. He actually kind of sees what I see here. And then with X, same thing. It seems like he kind of liked it, which was good. And I think from the start, I think Daisho even had made a comment that X wasn't as bad as Slang on the first go. Maybe because it was more towards the pop kind of side of things, which I hate to say. But that just goes to show that you should try to give these albums a second chance if you didn't like them the first time. Like, just give it a few months and then go back to it, revisit it with an open mind. I think the problem was here that we went into that kind of stubborn. Like, we were too busy focusing on what the general public had said about those two albums. When in reality, you just need to go in open-minded and just be like, okay, so this is a step forward. This is a new direction for this band. Just need to see how it went. And like I said, even though the general public did not like it, there's still some fans out there that actually liked those two albums. So back to the end so far. Unfortunately, this was a scenario where I did listen to it twice, and I did not like it at all. Like, there's maybe 4 songs on the whole album that were good, and the rest was just not good. I actually ran into the same situation with an AC/DC album that we did last year titled Flick of the Switch. I still don't like that album to this day. There's only a few good tracks, and I've listened to that album 3 times now in full. I just cannot get into it. I don't like it. I don't know what it is. Like, it just all sounds the same. Like, there's nothing different about that album. And unfortunately, the production for that album wasn't as good either. Kind of a scenario with Fly on the Wall in terms of production, but I love Fly on the Wall. That album was great. Another situation I ran into with that kind of thing, Ball Breaker is another kind of situation. However, I love Ball Breaker now. I can actually sit there and listen to that album in full and not get bored. I mean, the first time around I got bored. But again, I think I was kind of stubborn at the time. But then I went back and listened to it not 2 times, but 3 times. And I actually kind of grew to like it. Like, it's not a bad album at all. It's not my favorite. But it's not a bad album at all. Like, I can go and listen to it when I'm in the mood to listen to, like, something from the 90s from AC/DC. It's pretty good, actually. Pretty good. I'm always hearing that it's well praised in the AC/DC Discord server that I'm in. It's well praised, so, I mean, come on, you gotta give it a chance. So back to Slipknot. The end so far, absolutely hated it. And then, just recently, I believe in July, I had the honor to listen to We Are Not Your Kind from 2019, because I got that in album exchange as well. And that album was just amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'd still say it's probably my favorite album right now. It's kind of a toss-up between that and the debut album that I just listened to. I really don't know. Like, I love them both. Like, they both have their good parts to them. But I did self-titled last week, at the time of recording this, I should say. So I did that. So I have 3 albums left to do. And part of me just wants to start with Iowa and then go into volume 3 and then do the Gray chapter. Also, sorry, I got hiccups a little bit. So I might finish on the Gray chapter. I'm not sure. I honestly, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Just to say, okay, I did something in order, I guess. Not really. I didn't really do it in order, but I don't know. But I also was sent this 3-hour documentary that they did during the Volume 3 era of Slipknot. Thank you, by the way, if you're listening. You're the one that sent that to me through social media. I will be, hopefully, I need to find time. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna wait till I move. Like the first night I get there, like the first night I get to this new place, I am going to watch that. I'm gonna sit down, get snacks, and watch it. It's 3 hours. It is 3 hours long. It's on YouTube. Um, so I just need to just sit down and focus and relax. Shut all my stuff off. Shut all my devices off and just watch it. So I definitely need to do that. But I believe this person also told me I need to listen to the album first. So I don't know. I gotta find time. Um, I don't know. Like now I kind of want to listen to Volume 3 first because like I want to watch that documentary. Like I don't know. I really don't know. I gotta find time to do this. I'm like really low on time. As you can hear, my voice is getting low on time of being here. Um, but lately, I have been thinking about revisiting a few more albums that we have done, and by we, I mean Nitro, over the last year. Because we've done, I believe, 5 groups now for pilgrimages. We started with Billy Talent last summer, went into AC/DC in the fall, and then did Blink in the winter, and did Def Leppard in the spring, and now we also did Foo Fighters as well, early summer, and then we are doing Van Halen. We've been doing Van Halen since the tail end of the summer, going into fall. So actually, that's 6 groups now we've been doing. So part of me wants to go back and revisit some of these albums. We just revisited Billy Talent 1 on the 16th because it just turned 20 years old this year. Happy birthday to that album, by the way. I love that album so much. So we just revisited that and also did a breakdown episode for that. So Billy Talent, I guess you could say I've already revisited all the albums more than once at this point. AC/DC, I don't know. I revisited Powerage, I revisited Highway to Hell. I have revisited Ballbreaker and Flick and Fly on the Wall and Blow Up Your Video. I've also revisited The Razor's Edge like 4 times because I've gotten it for album exchange twice. Man. Part of me wants to revisit Black Ice though. Like, yes, it's the longest album they've done, but part of me wants to go back to it. Just because it was just a good time in my life. It was in 2008 that album was released. I was a little kid when it came out. I kind of remember it. So part of me wants to go back and revisit that for a little bit. Now, what I'm trying to do here is revisit at least one album per band. With Def Leppard, I've kind of already done that. I've revisited like multiple albums. X, Slang, Euphoria. I've listened to Euphoria 3 times now in the span of the summer. So Def Leppard, I might not revisit anything. I'm not sure yet. Blink, I might go back and revisit Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, to be honest. I might go back and revisit that. It's been a little bit. I did revisit California, but that was for research purposes. So I might go back and revisit Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, to be honest. I've been thinking about that album. So then we go into Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters, I have already told Daisha this. I need to go back and revisit my favorite album, which was There's Nothing Left to Lose from 1999. I love that album so much. It just has a different feel to it with Foo Fighters. And I feel like a lot of Foo Fighters fans did not like that album because they kind of changed their sound a little bit. But to me, I don't really see much of a change. Like, it's more of like a laid-back vibe. I get that. And of course, at this time, they were a 3-piece with Taylor, Dave, and Nate. Because Pat Smear had left, and Chris didn't come into the picture until after this album came out. So, I can see why people didn't like this album, weren't crazy for it. But me personally, I love it. I love the underdog albums, we'll call it. I've always been that way, and you guys should know this by now. I love There's Nothing Left to Lose, so I need to go back and revisit that album just for the vibe. I love the 1990s vibe, like the late 1990s vibe. Man, 1999 was a good year for music, and I was just talking to Daisha about this about a week ago from as I'm recording this, because we had Euphoria, we had Enema of the State, we had There's Nothing Left to Lose. Like, there's more albums I'm probably missing that came out in 99, and it's just a good year for music. Like, it was like the last year for the 90s era, so we were entering a dawn of the new era in the 2000s, so I can see why people really wanted to push to get albums out in '99 so they could say they were part of the '90s era. But so that's Foo Fighters. That's what I want to do for my revisiting of an album. And then Van Halen, I think when we're done, I might go back and revisit Diver Down. I love that album, to be honest. So no spoilers here. I love that album. I kind of want to go back and re-listen to it just so I can like be like, okay, I remember this album now, because I'm struggling to remember some of the albums because I have been incredibly busy and it's been hard to focus lately. But unfortunately, that's the end of this episode. It's a little short. I apologize, but my voice is kind of starting to give out. And I'm actually recording this in the morning. I'm supposed to be recording this at night. I'm actually recording this in the morning. I'm home alone today. I was supposed to record this the night before, but I was feeling really under the weather, and I ended up going to bed really early. So I'm recording this in the morning for you guys because, yes, I have some stuff I got to do. So I'm going to end the episode here. I hope you guys enjoyed. So October's coming, and I already forgot to change my calendar over. So October, spoopy season. We'll be starting spoopy season in the next episode you guys see. So I believe at this point we're going to go back to just the normal recording schedule, I think. So we'll be recording on time, not ahead of time. Our first episode of spoopy season for this year is a debate hour. Wow, we haven't done a debate hour in quite a bit. So we came up with this idea to do a debate hour, a triple threat debate hour of the top 3 most popular or favorite Halloween candies in our country. And Dystra did the research for me. Thank you, by the way. And we found out that Reese's, Kit Kats, and Snickers were the top 3 last year. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a debate hour on all 3 of those. Reese's versus Kit Kats versus Snickers. And see what we prefer over the other 2. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to see if we can like mention the history behind these candies. Basically, kind of review them. I have all 3 of these candies in my house right now. So I might actually eat them and review them on air for you guys. So I think that's what we're going to do on October 1st, actually. Yeah, Sunday, October 1st. What about that? We're going to be doing an episode right on the first day of spoopy season. So that'll be coming up in the next episode, so you guys will not want to miss it. I am excited for spoopy season. I've always loved doing spoopy season stuff on the channel for you guys. It's just a good time of the year. The air gets a little cooler, a little bit of a breeze. The leaves tend to start changing colors and falling to the ground. No pun intended. So that'll be the next episode coming up. And of course, I have Song of the Night for you guys. Now, I actually struggled to pick a song for tonight, but I'm going to go with a Van Halen song because, like I said, we've been doing the Van Halen pilgrimage for a little while. I'm going to go with a track from Fair Warning. We just did this album not too long ago at the time of recording this episode, titled Sinner's Swing. That was my favorite track from Fair Warning. There's no music video, but I will give you guys the audio link. It'll be at the end of the episode, top right hand corner. There'll be a link. Just go ahead and click on it and take a listen. It's a very good song. It's kind of a classic, David Lee Roth sounding Van Halen song from 1981. So go ahead and listen to that when you get the chance. If you guys stuck around to the very end, we appreciate your support. Be sure to go ahead and follow us on social media by clicking on the link in the description below. It'll take you to Linktree. We have Instagram, Reddit, TikTok, and Twitter. And we also have our YouTube community page, so be sure to keep up to date in any way possible, in case something goes wrong or if we need to change something up for recording. Because like I said, I am still moving at this time. So be sure to keep up to date with us on all the social media platforms that we just mentioned and the YouTube community page. If you guys don't know how to get there, go to our YouTube channel and click on the community tab on the top. It should be in the middle, I'm thinking. And that's where you'll see a lot of our updates there as well. So, yeah, please go ahead and do that. And Dystro's Gaming YouTube channel is also in that Linktree link. He's trying to get to 900 subscribers by the end of September. Now, we're running out of time. So, because the episode that I'm recording will be uploaded, I believe, on the last week of September. So, you guys have very limited time to get him to 900 subscribers. Let's get him there. Make him proud. Share his stuff around. He posts weekly gaming content. I play games with him as well when we're not doing the podcast. so be sure to go ahead and subscribe to him. Once again, take a listen to tonight's song of the night, Sinner's Swing by Van Halen, and that's it. Thanks for joining me, and we will catch you guys on October 1st. Peace.